Hello, everyone. The number one most important idea when it comes to attacking is defensive gaps and knowing how to break down a defense. Players already have a subconscious idea of what this is, but really knowing it and actively thinking about it will make your attacks much stronger and help you rank up quicker. A defensive gap is anywhere in the defense that has a weakness you can take advantage of. The defenders have a lot of sight to cover, and there's always going to be some part of their defense that is not covered as strongly as other parts. There are three kinds of gaps I want to cover in this video: physical, positional, and timing. Each of these are important, and learning how to identify them will help you on your attacks and also strengthen your defenses. First is physical gaps. A physical gap is a mistake in the setup of the defenders. Missing utility on an entrance, missing a rotate, or missing a crucial reinforcement. All of these fall under the category of a physical gap. If there's no barbed wire on the stairs, you can walk right up and the defenders won't know about it until it's too late. If there is no rotate between objectives, you can take site control much easier. You only have to worry about one entrance instead of two. And if the reinforcement is missing, getting access to site is much easier than normal. Now that we're in game, we can look at a few examples. Here I'm on Oregon, and the defenders are defending the top floor. Usually, you'd expect defenders to put some utility on white stairs to notify them once I'm walking up. Barbed wire, proxy alarm, a banshee, anything to let the defenders know that someone's walking up white stairs will help them out. If there's nothing here, I can walk up and usually get a free kill. Now, another example would be big window. Usually, on defense, you want to make feed holes from the kids' room to the double bunk. If there's no feed holes here, you can take advantage of that gap by walking into the window and having access to site uncontested from kids. The idea here is that these gaps allow attackers to take space uncontested and usually unnoticed. This allows attackers to take the defense by surprise and secure an advantage. The next gap is a positional gap, or a place where the defenders should be holding, but they aren't. If there is a power position and the defenders need to be controlling it, and they are not, the attackers can take it for free, usually giving them a major advantage. There may still be some utility here with the intention of alerting the defenders, but there are no defenders around to act on that information. If we take a look here, attic is being undefended. All 5 defenders are elsewhere on the top floor looking at something else. This means attackers can easily walk into attic, drop down, and control a lot of the objective and sight lines without having any contesting towards them. This gives the attackers the power position, cuts the site in half, and it's known as a positional gap. The last type of gap is a little bit like a positional gap, but happens at specific times. These are timing gaps. It's not necessarily someone or something not being in a specific place allowing you to take space, but more like defenders making decisions at the wrong time, and you can take advantage of that. Think about trades or defense using important utility at the wrong time. If a smoke uses all of his canisters at the start of the round, then he can't deny the plant later in the round, and that allows you to plant easier. You are exposing gaps in time, not space, and it's not always about where you hit, but when you hit. The reason this is important is because gaps can win you rounds as an attacker and lose you rounds as a defender. As a defender, you want to give the attackers nothing. If the attackers are going to get anything important, they need to work for it. So how do you actually see these gaps in your own game? Well, there are some questions you can always be asking yourself as a defender. Who is responsible for this area? If they push here, what stops them? And can we trade this? If the answer to any of these is no, then you have a gap. But fixing it is pretty simple though. Every area that needs to be covered should be covered by someone or something. That sounds pretty obvious, and that's honestly because it is. The harder part is identifying what areas of the map are important. But the general rule of thumb is that the site and the areas directly surrounding the site are important. In my defense breakdowns, I cover which positions these are as well as ways to hold them. If you're interested in that, check out the video in the top right. Along with an area being covered by someone, you can also cover areas with utility. Think back to white stairs on Oregon. If you placed barbed wire on the stairs, you will know when the attackers are coming up those stairs. You don't need someone watching the stairs all round when no one's there. They can put their attention elsewhere. Losing space should cost something for the attackers, like time and utility. Otherwise, they are going to gain map control quickly and force you to create gaps. You do not want the attackers forcing you to make gaps. On some sites, with how you have to hold them, there will always be gaps, and it's just the nature of the game. A gap does not necessarily need to be an area that is undefended. It could be an area that might be weakly defended. As you understand defensive gaps more, you will realize that it is up to the defenders where the gaps are, instead of the attackers getting to decide that. For example, if you're playing top floor Oregon and extend into Armory and Trophy, you're putting a lot of resource and utility on that side, which may leave a gap on the other side of the map by Big Window. This will let the attackers to opt for a Big Window White Stairs take. If that's okay with your team, you can make it work. Now, let's look at it from an attacking point of view. At an easy level, you're really just trying to identify where you can take space and map control with the littlest amount of pushback. For example, right here, we have our attacking team of Ash, Sledge, and Twitch trying to push this Armory Trophy hold. They have a Mutant Trophy, Castle and Armory, and they're really locking it down and giving us a difficult time. Well, what we can do is use our drones, and if we identify a gap in the defense, like no barbed wire on White Stairs, then there's really nothing stopping you from just walking up. If no attackers are near White Stairs, it might even be worth it to have someone rotate over just to expose that hole in the defense. Our Sledge can walk in and have some control of the objective for seemingly nothing. Once you play against tougher opponents in Siege, they do not tend to make mistakes like that. An example of a gap that may not even seem like it is a poorly defended Rafters on Clubhouse. As a defender, Rafters needs to be locked down like Fort Knox. If you're attacking and you see that they have little to no utility protecting their player, then that's a gap. One flashbang, one frag grenade, or one Capital Fireball, and this player is gone, and now the attackers control the most important power position. Remember, sometimes a gap is not going to be an area without someone or something defending it. It may be an area poorly defended that you can take advantage of. Defensive gaps are one of the biggest reasons attacks fail or succeed in Siege. If you can start identifying where the defense has gaps and how to take advantage of them, your attacks are going to become a lot more consistent. On the flip side, if you understand where these gaps are and start fixing them in your own defenses, attackers are going to have a much harder time against you. There are plenty of ways to show all of these ideas, but these are just the basic concepts behind it all. If you'd like to see breakdowns of these things in live games, please let me know. I hope you learned something new, and thank you for your time.